Well, hello, Facebook tribe. Great to be on with you guys today. And today I'm going to be talking about blood sugar, ketosis, and fasting, and really trying to do my best to answer as many of your questions as possible. So if you do have questions, definitely let me know where you're coming in from and what your main questions are. I really want this to be as much of a Q&A as possible to really help address any concerns that you guys have when it comes to balancing your blood sugar, when it comes to ketosis, ketogenic diet, when it comes to fasting, hydration, things like that. And so I've got a couple things that I'm going to talk about to begin with, but definitely let me know again where you're coming in from, and also let me know what questions you have when it comes to these topics. And so first big thing when it comes to fasting, whether intermittent fasting or extended day fasting. So for example, last weekend, or not last weekend, but the weekend before that, I did a 2-day fast. So I fasted Saturday and Sunday and just drank liquids. So lots and lots of hydration. I did a 24-hour water fast, and then I did some broth after that. And and that was on Sunday. So Saturday I fasted just on water, and then on Sunday I did broth. And it was great. I felt so refreshed and energized and cleansed and detoxified. And so I did that. And then on a regular basis, I'll do intermittent fasting where, like I ate dinner. I finished dinner at 6:30 last night, and I'll eat probably around 12. Some days around 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, sometimes in that time frame. And as you kind of get going with this in the beginning, it's like a muscle, like anything else, like going to the gym and exercising. It can be really tough, and you can obviously feel fatigued. You can feel sore, in a sense, if you were to go and work out, and you regularly have been sedentary, and then you go ahead and you start an exercise plan. It's very common to be very sore, and that's normal, and most of us understand that, and we understand we've got to exercise regularly in order to get to the point where we're not feeling that stiffness and that soreness. And so it's the same thing with fasting. Sometimes you just got to start with baby steps. So it could be like a 12-hour fast between dinner and breakfast. So 12 hours between your last meal and your first meal. So if you finish dinner at 7 p.m., go to 7 a.m. the next day without consuming anything with calories. So you can drink water. Okay. Herbal teas are good. If you needed to do like a black coffee, you could do that, but try to do 12 hours without consuming anything with calories. I think that's a really great place to start when you're fasting. We call that the simple fast, because ultimately at the end of the day, it's really not that hard. It's somewhat simple. And so with all of that, biggest step, focus on hydration, making sure that you're drinking a lot of water. A lot of people tell me they wake up in the morning and they're starving right away. They've got to have food right away. And it's really because they're dehydrated. See, when we sleep, we're actually exhaling water vapor. And so we're losing water when we're sleeping. So when we wake up in the morning, it's just normal and natural to depend on more water, and really hydrating our body effectively is key. I've got my water right here. So this is a little bit of lemon water. And I drink a lot. And so I'll typically be, easily drinking one of these full, I think these are like 32, I think it's like basically about 32 ounces or so of water. And so I'm drinking easily, 64 ounces of water before midday, and sometimes up to a gallon. So I'm just really hydrating my body. Now, you may not necessarily need that much, but you want to hydrate well. And the better you hydrate, the less hungry you're going to be, the more energy you're going to notice. So I think that's a really big key here. Now let's see who's on with us. Okay, so we have got Wendy. She's coming in. Good morning, she says. Ryan. Hey, Ryan, what's up, man? We got Pat from Ohio. Thank you guys so much for being on. We got Lynn from Oklahoma. We got Rodell from Philippines. So people all over the world here. We've got Sarah coming in from Northeast Georgia. We got Rochelle here from Tybee Island, Georgia. Let's see. We've got Sean. He goes, hi, Dr. Jockers. Have you tried a dry fast? And, Sean, I haven't. And so there's a lot of people now talking about doing a dry fast without water. I've never done it. I don't really think it's healthy, honestly. Maybe for some individuals who have been fasting for a long period of time, they can get benefit from it. However, I don't consider it a very healthy approach, because I really think you need to pee your way to good health. You need to really hydrate, and that's a key part of just cellular energy production, as well as just basically getting toxins out of your system. So just kind of flushing them all out. I'm a huge fan of doing water fasting, but not dry fasting. So thank you for that question. Let's see. Wendy says, she goes, if hubby is still hungry between a late breakfast and dinner, should he just have more fats, or is a small lunch okay, like a small snack, working on his diabetes and weight loss? That's a great question. So Wendy, typically when we notice hunger in between meals, first thing I will do is tell that individual to drink 8 ounces of water. So drink 8 ounces of water and then come back to me in 15, 20 minutes and see, are you still really hungry? And oftentimes, I would say probably 75% of the time, the individual is not. They're like, you know what, actually that was good. So that was fine. And if that's the case, that's great. Now, another approach you could do would be dice up some cucumber, okay, and put a little bit of sea salt, so Himalayan sea salt or something like that on there, maybe some apple cider vinegar. And sometimes they just need a little bit more minerals, so that can be helpful. Or just take a little bit of salt and put it on your tongue and drink some water, and that can also be real helpful. Oftentimes, our hunger is actually our brain's way of telling us, hey, I need more minerals and more hydration. And so I think that's key. Also, the second big thing I want to talk about here was eating healthy fats at every meal. So if we're going to get keto adapted and really be able to fast, it's important that we prioritize healthy fats. So coconut oil, coconut products, avocados, olive oil, olives, making sure you've got those at every meal. Grass-fed butter, oftentimes, that can be really, really good. Making sure you've got that at every single meal you eat. You've got it built around these healthy fats is really important. And then also getting a lot of minerals, lots and lots of minerals, that's key. And so you can really get these in the food that you eat. So if you're eating like sea vegetable, so things like dulse, nori, kelp, that helps. There's a great snack called Sea Snacks that I regularly will have. And I actually will oftentimes have this with meals. And it's basically just a sheet of sea vegetable with olive oil and sea salt. And it's great form of minerals. Also doing things like cucumbers, dark green leafy vegetables. These are really rich in minerals, so super good for the body. Olives are really rich, avocados. So consuming a lot of those types of foods, that's going to get you a lot of minerals. And then also making sure you're salting your foods well. You don't want to oversalt, but you want to salt it to your taste profile. So if you shouldn't try to be avoiding salt. I think that's probably the biggest thing there, is just making sure you're not avoiding salt. Let's see what other questions we have. So Wendy, that's where I would start. And then, if he still needs a snack, certainly, maybe make some guacamole, or you could do, we've got tons of recipes on drjockers.com, lots of really good snack recipes like fat bombs. We've got chocolate fat bombs, which are phenomenal. Turmeric coconut cream cups and things like that can be really, really good as far as like a small snack. Maybe even munching on like some macadamia nuts or almonds or something along those lines can be really helpful. Okay, so we got Tam from Orange County. Great to have you, Tam. We got Susan from South Africa. We have got Adrian coming in here from South Africa. Thank you guys so much for being on. We've got Sarah here. She says, started taking Keto Edge. The first week did not feel any difference. Started to mix in apple cider vinegar, and man, what a difference. Felt great. So what does that mean? Can I not break down or absorb ketones or nutrients on my own? It's a really good question. So, and honestly, I don't really know the answer to that. So Keto Edge is basically exogenous ketones. So it elevates your ketones up. I would say, I don't think it really had to do necessarily with the apple cider vinegar as much as it had to do with the fact that your body was getting better at utilizing ketones. So one advantage of using exogenous ketones like this product called Keto Edge that I have on my store is that if you are coming from consuming a higher carbohydrate diet, then basically your body is not keto adapted. It's not good at recognizing ketones in the bloodstream, and actually doesn't have the metabolic machinery to really use them for energy. And that process to get keto adapted takes time. Your body needs to see the presence of these ketones for a period of time, at least a week or two typically, to be able to recognize and be able to utilize them effectively. And this is why, one of the reasons why urine test strips, so if you're testing your ketones with urine, it's really not a good measure. When you first go on a ketogenic diet, you'll typically test out real high on urine ketones because your body is starting to produce them, but has no idea how to use them. And so in the beginning, when you first start using a product like Keto Edge, oftentimes you won't notice a difference because your body really doesn't know how to use the ketones. And it takes some time, some adaptation for the body to really use those for energy. Now, there are other compounds in the Keto Edge that'll also benefit your health. Like there are adaptogenic mushrooms that typically people notice a lot more energy, mental clarity, better sleep quality, better mood, and blood sugar stability. So this is a product that helps you get keto adapted faster, and that will really help. Now, apple cider vinegar is amazing for just its effect on our microbiome. So when you take in apple cider vinegar, it helps preferentially favor the types of microbes that help our body to burn fat for fuel, that break down waste products. So they actually eat toxins and produce B vitamins and enzymes and key nutrients in our body. It also helps stimulate digestive juice production, things like stomach acid, bile, pancreatic enzymes. So it's going to help improve your overall digestive function. So I'm a huge fan of apple cider vinegar. Now, mixing Keto Edge with apple cider vinegar, I honestly couldn't tell you that combination, that there's anything magical about that other than the fact that you're getting the benefits of both. So I would say what you're noticing there, Sarah, to answer that question, is that you're noticing your body starting to adapt and be able to utilize these ketones for energy. So thank you for sharing that, and keep us updated on how that's going. Let's see. Shara says, I've been doing this for over 20 years. Wow, that's awesome. I actually feel better not eating for some reason. I'm still 100 pounds overweight. I never get hungry. I could go forever, I think. I'm thinking it's the Lyme making me not hungry or overweight. And so, so she's been doing intermittent fasting, keto for 20 years. She's still 100 pounds overweight, yet she's not feeling hunger. And so, yeah, absolutely. I mean, typically when you are keto adapted, you won't notice the hunger quite as much. And so, Shara, some individuals, and it definitely could be related to infections like Lyme, are very, very insulin resistant. And so basically when they eat, they tend to overproduce insulin, and it stays elevated in their system and causes kind of this extra weight gain. So typically with these types of individuals, I will typically recommend something like periodic fasts. Okay, not only doing intermittent fasting on a regular basis, where you're doing like 2 meals a day and doing something like a 16 to 18 hour fast, but also every month or so doing like a 5-day fast. Okay, 5 to maybe up to a 7-day water fast can be really helpful for these individuals. And so in the beginning, when you first start doing like a 5-day fast, it's really hard. Kind of like we were talking about in the beginning with exercise. It can be really, really challenging because, we haven't developed the fasting muscles. Now, for you, you're somebody that seems to have developed those, so it shouldn't be as hard for you. So that's what I would recommend would be every single month trying to do like a 5 to 7 day water fast, and then on a regular basis, just doing something like 2 meals a day, maybe a 1-day, 24-hour fast, 1 day a week or something along those lines would be a good idea. So that's what I would recommend without knowing, your whole health history there, Shara. And of course, make sure if you've got Lyme and dealing with other infections that you're working with this with a trained healthcare practitioner. But I think that can be really helpful for you. All right. So one other key thing I wanted to discuss when it comes to fasting is really making sure we keep stress under control and that we're breathing deep. So if we are in a really stressful period of time in our life, it's not a great time to do fasting, especially extended fasting, 5-day fasts. Even sometimes intermittent fasting can be, because it's a mild stressor. Fasting is not an extreme stress on the body. It's a mild stress. But if you're under a lot of other stressors, emotional stress, maybe you recently got in a car accident. I mean, there could be a number of different things that are going on. You have a lot of work stress. If that's the case, then it may not be the best time for you to get going with fasting. Now, once you start to build the fasting muscles, you get a little bit better with that. Okay, it's kind of like exercise. You wouldn't want to exercise at a high intensity if your body's already overwhelmed with stress, or if you're not sleeping good at night. It's not a good idea. You're going to overwhelm it, because basically with stress, there's a certain threshold. And so let's say that threshold is here where my hand is. Okay. And so typically if whatever stressor, if this is our threshold, is coming up but not quite hitting it, it's coming right about here and then sinking down, it's going to prime us and make us stronger. But if our stress threshold is lower and we're blowing ourselves out with stress, then we're actually going to get weaker. We're going to accelerate the aging process. We're going to have a lot more issues, a lot more health problems that are going to go on. And so certainly wouldn't recommend that. And so make sure that you're at a period of time where, stress isn't overwhelming. You're always going to have stress, but that it's not overwhelming. And you want to make sure you're breathing deep on a regular basis. And then this is also key, especially as we get out here in the spring and summer, is making sure you're getting out in the sunshine and moving your body effectively. So just getting out in the sunshine is so helpful when you're trying to fast, when you are trying to just have a lot of energy and keep your blood sugar stable. The sun really helps with that. There's a lot of reasons why biophotons from the sun, our body can actually utilize that as a medium for energy, cellular energy production. On top of that, of course, most of us know about vitamin D production, and vitamin D is an essential prohormone that's really key for healthy insulin response and healthy blood sugar stability. So definitely make sure you're getting out and moving your body regularly. Got to get out and got to make sure you're moving. So it doesn't have to be extreme exercise, but getting out and taking walks, really helpful. Let's see, Sue is coming in here. No, it's Kathy from Hampton, Georgia. So great to have you on. We've got Linda coming in from Maine. We have got Mar coming in from Spain. So great to have you guys on. People all over the world. We've got Wendy from South Africa. Such an honor and a privilege to be on a broadcast like this. What cool technology with you guys from all over the world. Let's see, Shara coming in from Mississippi. Let's see, Brett coming in from Tennessee. Okay, Rachel asked a question. She says, does having a bullet coffee with fats break a fast? It's a great question. So technically it does, because it has calories. So it's going to break a fast. It's going to blunt growth hormone secretion a little bit. However, it's not going to have a big impact on your insulin, and that's good. And that means that you're still going to be in fat burning mode. It can help produce ketones in your system. So you get a lot of benefit. Now, technically, is it breaking a fast? Technically it is, okay? I call it more of a fat fast that you're doing, where you're consuming fat, you're just not consuming protein and carbohydrates, the kinds of things that are going to elevate insulin in your system. Okay, now you'll still have a growth hormone increase, because overall, compared to if you ate a meal with protein and carbohydrates, because you're not consuming protein and carbs, and your insulin is staying low, so your growth hormone will still be elevated, but it will blunt it compared to doing a water fast. So what I like to do is, because I definitely enjoy Bulletproof coffee as well, but I typically try to do it like 3, maybe 4 days a week, and then also do 3 to 4 days a week where I'm doing water. Like this morning, I didn't do any coffee, so I'm talking to you here, and I'm water fasting, and that's great, and I'm getting more growth hormone release that way. Which, what are the benefits of that? Basically, when you have more growth hormone, that's going to help your body repair joints, connective tissue. It's going to help you with fat burning. It's going to help with your immune system, really key for the immune system. So I see when a lot of people are doing like Bulletproof coffee every single morning or something like that every single morning, oftentimes they can end up with some increased amount of joint pain, or just not healing as well as they could if they were incorporating a little bit of water fasting in. And also maybe a little bit weaker immune system. So, I've noticed that with myself as well. When I do some sort of Bulletproof or fat burning coffee in the morning, most days I feel great, but if I'm doing it every single day, I just don't feel like I'm recovering from my workouts as well, and I feel like my immune system's not as strong. So, good things to look out for right there, Rachel. Really good things to look out for. So it's good to cycle something like that in. And in general, we, ideally don't want to be fully dependent upon coffee or something like that anyways, but it is a good idea to do from time to time. Okay, so let's see. Mar says, in my case, I cannot do a whole 24-hour fast as I'm hypoglycemic and very slim, but I can do a 12 to 14 hour one, and it's certainly a break for the body. Yeah, that's great. So Mar, it's a great place to start. And, for individuals that are not fat adapted or keto adapted, a 24-hour one-day fast can be extremely intimidating. So I wouldn't recommend doing that. until you are more keto and more keto adapted. So a great place to start is that 12 to 14 hour fast. So I'm glad you're doing that. And make sure when you wake up in the morning, you hydrate well. Maybe, before you go to bed, have some herbal tea in the evening so you're staying well hydrated. And that will help blunt the hunger and help you respond better, help you have more energy, help actually reduce the hypoglycemia. So oftentimes your body you'll develop hypoglycemia oftentimes when you're dehydrated and short on minerals. And that's because the body says, wow, this is stressful. I don't have enough water and minerals to produce cellular energy. So it's stressful. So it starts releasing a lot of stress hormones and your blood sugar plummets. And so this can be an issue. So making sure that you're getting the hydration, getting the minerals, very important with that. And 12 to 14 hours is a great place to start. Let's see, Veronica says a dry fast enables stem cells to grow. Veronica, I haven't seen the research on that. So I think that there's people out there that are talking about it, but I just haven't seen the research. I know water fasting, doing a 5-day water fast can have a profound effect on stem cells. So I don't think that you need to do dry fasting in order to produce them. I've heard the argument that, hey, if you do like a 2-day dry fast is equivalent to a 5-day water fast. I don't know. I haven't seen the research. I don't know enough about that. I don't think it's safe and healthy for most people. For some individuals maybe who have a lot of experience with it, but for most people I don't. Let's see. Shar says, do you think it's healthy to drink distilled water? It's a good question. I think it definitely can be healthy to drink distilled water as long as you're also taking in other minerals. So distilled water is going to be free of toxic chemicals, which is great. You don't want to drink water with toxic chemicals. However, at the same time, you do want to make sure you've got enough minerals, and distilled water is completely free of minerals, so it can pull minerals from your body. So adding in even just a pinch of Himalayan sea salt can be enough, roughly somewhere around like a quarter of a teaspoon per gallon is about enough to remineralize the water. So you don't need a whole lot, and you can just add those minerals in with the distilled water and you're great. Let's see. Dion says, hi, Dr. J. Hope all is well. Your thoughts on SCT oil versus MCT oil? It's a great question. There's a new product called SCT oil, short chain triglyceride oil. I think it's fantastic. It's easy on the digestive system, tastes really good. It's kind of like a grass-fed butter ghee, but it's easier on the digestive system. So your body doesn't have to produce bile in order to break down SCT oil. So it's easier on for people that don't have gallbladders or sluggish gallbladders. So I think it's really good. MCT oil is great as well. I use that regularly. Challenge with MCT oil is if you take too much too quickly, you certainly will have some issues with wet stools. Okay, so kind of have to work your tolerance up. I'll typically tell people to start with about a half a teaspoon of MCT oil, whereas with SCT oil, I'll tell them they can start with a full teaspoon and just see how your body responds, and then go up a half a teaspoon at a time from there, because everybody's tolerance for fats in a meal is a little bit different. And it really is going to depend on your microbiome, your ability to produce digestive juices. Those are going to be big factors. We talked about apple cider vinegar helping support digestive juice production. So that can definitely help using something like a little apple cider vinegar in water, or putting apple cider vinegar on your food to help your body produce more stomach acid, bile, pancreatic enzymes to be able to break down these fats more effectively. But huge fan of using both SCT and MCT oil. So both of those are great. Let's see. Marcia is coming in from Iowa. Okay, Mar says, thank you for your wisdom. Thank you for being on with us, Mar. Okay, we got Heather coming in from South Africa. A lot of South Africans with us today. Okay, Terry says, just lowered my A1C by 1.2 doing keto. Awesome, Terry. Big virtual high five right there. That I'm pumped for you. Absolutely. So hemoglobin A1C is a key measure because that actually looks at how your body's responding to blood sugar over a 90 to 120 day period. And it's measuring something called glycation. And glycation is basically damage to the red blood cell. And so when we're glycating, it's actually causing damage to the blood cells. So we want to get that low. I typically will recommend it between 4.5 to 5.2. Okay, diabetes is 6.5 or above. Pre-diabetes is 5.7. I'm sorry, 5.7 to 6.5 is the pre-diabetic state. But that range between 5.3 and 5.7 or so. It's not terrible, but it's not like really, really, really ideal. And so lowering your A1C by 1.2 is a huge factor when it comes to reducing your risk of chronic disease, because when we have a high level of glycation going on, that's a sign of accelerated aging going on in our body. And so that means blood sugar is binding to proteins, damaging our kidneys. Okay, this is why people with diabetes develop kidney failure oftentimes, or on dialysis and things like that, because it damages the kidneys, it damages the endothelial lining of the blood vessels, it will damage our optic nerves, things like that, cause all different types of issues, peripheral neuropathy, blindness. And so lowering the A1C is huge. Great job, Terry. Let's see, Nelson says, hi, Dr. Jockers, I'm from the Philippines. I'm watching you right now. Awesome, great to have you on with us, Nelson. Let's see, Diana says, my hubby is diabetic. He's trying hard to get his numbers down. When he fasts in the morning, his blood sugar is very high. Why? Any advice for a diabetic? Yeah, so basically his body's starting to produce blood sugar through something called gluconeogenesis, where actually the liver is breaking down its stored sugar to elevate blood sugar. And so a couple things that can help: hydration in the morning, like I've been talking about, and doing lemon water or apple cider vinegar in the morning can be really helpful. Also, we have this product called Keto Edge that we talked about earlier, which is basically ketones, exogenous ketones, a little bit of MCT powder, and adaptogenic mushrooms that help support blood sugar stability, and some branched chain amino acids. And I found that to be really helpful for helping balance and stabilize blood sugar. So at this stage, his body's such a sugar burner that his body's going into kind of a panic mode when it doesn't have regular food. And I mean, honestly, when he eats, I'm sure his blood sugar is high as well. So getting the hydration in will help reduce that stress response. And that's big. Also, doing something like apple cider vinegar or lemon in water is big. Doing something like the Keto Edge product in water would be really helpful. Other herbs that can be helpful would be things like ashwagandha, which is really helpful for quieting down the cortisol response. And actually, I have a really great article that we just recently put together on high fasting blood sugar. So check that out on drjockers.com. Just recently put that together. Talks a lot about that topic. So thanks for asking that, Diana. We got Carrie coming in from Texas. We got Alicia coming in from the UK. We got Sarah coming in. She says, what are foods that have high ketones? That's a great question, Sarah. There's no real foods that actually have high ketones. We don't eat food that has ketones in it. However, our body will actually take fatty acids from the foods we're eating and produce ketones. So avocados, grass-fed butter, olive oil, olives, things like that, they're very rich in healthy fats. And so those healthy fats can be converted in our body. As long as insulin is down, our blood sugar is down, they're going to be converted into ketones. And so in the case of Diana's husband, because his insulin is up and the blood sugar is up, taking in some already pre-made ketones in the form of exogenous ketones like our product Keto Edge would be really helpful, because now it starts getting the ketones into the system, getting the body trained up on how to use those for energy, and that's going to quiet down the stress response and the need for blood sugar. Okay, let's see what other questions we have. We've got Shara. She says, I can't drink apple cider vinegar because I break out with yeast. Why? Good question, Shara. You may have an elevated histamine response. And for some individuals with an elevated histamine response, they respond poorly to apple cider vinegar. It has to do with what's going on in your microbiome. So if you can't do apple cider vinegar, you could always try lemon or lime. You could also try things like ginger tea can be really helpful. There's other types of teas as well that you can do, herbal teas. That you could look at, but ginger tea is a great one. Peppermint's another good one that you could try to really help stimulate the digestive juice production. Let's see. Lisa says, I'm 40 pounds overweight, cycle regularly, have been paleo-pegan for 7+ years, started keto in November 2017. I see a naturopath and I'm hypothyroid, no stressors. I cannot lose weight. Okay, so basically, Lisa, you may have issues with T4 to T3 conversion, or Hashimoto's that may be going on. And so I would love to see what if I was your naturopath or your clinician, I would want to see what your T4 and active T3 are, because what I'll oftentimes see is that for many individuals, they're not getting a good T4 to T3 conversion. Okay. And that really can depend on a lot of things: healthy gut, healthy liver, enough selenium in their system, enough zinc in their system. And sometimes just taking a little bit of thyroid support. Like we've got something called Thyroid Strong. I've seen that make a huge difference for a lot of individuals. So trying something like that can also be really, really helpful. But, I don't know enough about your case to dive too far into this, but that's where I would look first. Okay, let's see other questions here. We got a lot of people on today, which is awesome. We got Gail coming in from Canada. We have got Olga coming in from California. We've got Angie coming in from Minnesota. We've got Kim. She says, thanks for all the wonderful information and spiritual encouragement. Oh, thanks so much, Kim. I try to share what's on my heart and what God's doing in my life with you guys on my Facebook page on a daily basis with, the different banners and statements that I put up. And so, I think we're all works in progress. And so fortunately, thank God, we got an incredible, gracious God who's merciful and loves us in spite of all of our mistakes and mishaps, right? And we want to celebrate that and just be an instrument of love and peace in our life. And so thanks so much for tuning in and getting a lot of value out of what I'm learning and applying in my life. Let's see. Kathy says, water fast. Is it only water for 24 hours? Good question, Kathy. Water fast would be water. I will allow something like apple cider vinegar or like lemon juice in there because there's really just virtually no calories in those. Also, you can add in a little bit of salt or minerals too. So there's no calories in those. So that would count as well. Now, some people, they want to be like really strict. They're like, it's only water. But for me, I allow a couple of the other things. Okay. And also, guys, if you guys are getting a lot of value out of this, definitely share it on your page and give me a like on this. That way more people get a chance to listen to this Q&A right here. Let's see. Birgit says, hello from Perth, Western Australia. Great to have you on with us. And thank you for all the wonderful information. You're so welcome. Thank you for acknowledging that. It means a lot to me. Let's see. Tess. Hey, Tess. Hope you and Rich are doing well. She says, good morning, Dr. Jockers. Is it okay to eat 2 or more avocados a day? Yes, it's definitely okay to do that, especially if your body's responding well to avocados. Obviously, if you eat avocado and you have to clear your throat a lot, or you feel really fatigued after you eat the avocado, or nauseous, or you have digestive problems, then I would avoid it. Avocados are a superfood. They're absolutely amazing for the body. Tons of carotenoid antioxidants, potassium. There's in one avocado, you have twice as much fiber as there is in a bowl of oatmeal. So avocados are amazing for the microbiome, really good for the body. However, everybody's unique and different. So for some reason you don't respond well to avocados, then don't eat too many of them. However, if you feel good with them, definitely eating 2 or more is great. I think it's a really, really great idea. I eat at least on days I'm eating, when I'm not fasting, I'm certainly eating an avocado, at least 1 avocado every day, and sometimes 2 or maybe even up to 3, depending on the day. So really good food to stick with, that's for sure. And very cost effective too. They're not very expensive and they have a lot of healthy calories. All right, Nelson. What's up, Nelson? Nelson says, aim always take coffee 3 or 4 times daily. It can affect my blood sugar. Okay, so Nelson, I know you're coming in from the Philippines, and so I'm sure English isn't your first language here, but I appreciate you asking this question. And so if you're doing coffee 3 or 4 times a day, that can definitely be a problem. I wouldn't do more than 2 hits of caffeine a day. That would be like the max that I would recommend. So if you do like a morning coffee, then maybe like a coffee in the midday, like around midday if you wanted to, or you could do like our keto protein, keto chocolate protein, which has some coffee bean extract, which actually tastes amazing, that keto chocolate coffee. And that would work. So that would be 2 hits. I wouldn't do more than 2 servings of caffeine a day though. So if you're out there and you're doing more than that, that would be a good goal to shoot for. It would be to reduce it down to where you're doing 2 a day, because it will definitely affect your blood sugar, could cause a lot of inflammation in your body and really burn out your adrenals. So that's not what you want. Okay, Lisa says, when I do IF and OMAD, do you still, I'm not exactly sure what that means. the OMAD, do you still need to get all your macros and calories in those meals? Good question. And honestly, you don't. And so if you're doing like a full day fast, and I think that's what you're getting at there, is if you're doing like a full day fast and you're only eating one meal, you don't have to think, I have to get 2,000 calories in this meal, if 2,000 calories would be the amount that you would need. I would think instead, like, I'm not trying to lose weight at all. I'm never trying to lose weight, but I just eat until feel satiated. Eat until I feel done and satisfied. And I just try to really be intuitive and listen to my body and how I respond to food. So again, I wouldn't try to like slam it all in those, be super stringent on macros if you're just eating one meal. I would just eat until you feel satiated. And if you're noticing that you're losing a lot of weight, unwanted weight, like if you didn't want to lose weight and you're losing a lot of weight, then consider adding more in or consider adding a second meal. But in general, I would just focus on trying to really just apply the general principles and just listening to your body and eating intuitively. Let's see. Olga says, I did a 5-day water fast, lost 12 pounds. I refed and ate light for the first 2 days. Then I did a OMAD. Is that like I'm not exactly sure what that term means. I guess you guys are using that. Is that like a full day fast for the rest of the week? But I somehow gained back the 12 pounds. I lost and then added 8 pounds more. I did start my cycle that week. So this might have been a factor, but usually the weight drops. This time it didn't. How is that possible? Water weight, it's never happened to me before. Okay, so you lost the weight and then you ate light and let's see, somehow you gained back the 12 pounds. Okay, so sometimes, your body says, hey, I'm in a really stressful period of time, or I feel like, I'm in a time of extreme famine, and therefore it will start to try to hold on to as much as possible. And much of that can be water weight. And so, okay, so Lily says 1 meal a day is OMAD. Okay, I got it. I got it now, guys. Thanks for that. Appreciate that. So your body may be signaling that it's in a very stressful season, and your thyroid, you may have an underactive conversion of thyroid hormone. Now, a couple things you can look out for. You can look out for your energy levels. If you're feeling really, really fatigued, okay, that could be an issue, obviously, with your thyroid. You might feel colder as well. So you may actually need to consume a little bit more food, and also maybe even cycle in a little bit of carbs on those days when you're eating, okay? So you kind of have to experiment for yourself. And so you do the 5-day water fast, all right? You're adding back and you're consuming 1 meal a day. You may need to go 2 meals, okay? And you may need to have one day where you do more of a carb up, okay? Kind of like a feast day. So there's a lot of benefits to famine, and famine would be telling our body, hey, we need to use ketones as an energy source. So whether you're following a ketogenic diet, ketogenic lifestyle, or if you are fasting, doing 5-day fast, or like a 1 day, one meal a day fast, those are all signals of famine. But if we are in famine for too long, oftentimes our body can then start to retain. Okay, so you also need to cycle in periods of feasting. So it may be 1 day a week where you're consuming extra calories, maybe more carbohydrates, maybe more protein. It may be 1 meal a day. So I typically, if people that are trying to lose weight, I'll tell them start with not 1 meal a day, 1 meal a week. Okay, start with like 1 meal a week, all right, where you are doing higher amount of carbohydrates and or protein in that 1 meal a week. And then do a 1 day, full 1 day fast. Okay, you could even do like a 40-hour fast where you fast all day. Let's say you eat, this feast meal on Saturday night, and then you just fast until Monday lunchtime, right? Or something like that. And then you do keto until Saturday night again. And then you have kind of your feast day. Okay, and I find that to be very sustainable. And also you get the benefits of feast and famine, because when you feast, your body says, okay, activate thyroid hormone, right? And now you get an increased amount of thyroid hormone that's produced. Meanwhile, when you're in that period of famine, you're getting the significant reduction in inflammation that is powerful for all your organ systems of your body. So I would recommend trying something like that where you're doing a cyclical approach, Olga, and see how your body responds to that. Okay, guys, it is 10:58, so I'm going to need to jump off here, but I'm going to answer one more question. I see Jillian says, what does one do when you have adrenal fatigue and have constant bloating, which is extremely uncomfortable? Sorry to hear about that, Jillian. Well, I think one thing with bloating is I will recommend a ginger tea can be really helpful for that, ginger tea. Drinking that throughout the day. Also doing activated charcoal. Activated charcoal can really help sweep up toxins in the gut, sweep up extra gas, pull out some of the microbes that are in the system. That can be really helpful. Also, sometimes a little bit of antimicrobial, gentle antimicrobial, like we have a supplement called GI Regulator that can be really helpful for reducing gut bugs that cause bloating. So that can be really helpful. And I actually have a whole article on bloating that you could check out if you just go to my website and type that in. And that would be helpful. And really, when your gut bugs are out of, when you have dysbiosis, a high amount of bad microbes in your system, then it's going to cause more stress in your body and lead to things like adrenal fatigue. So without a doubt. So I'd recommend making sure you're hydrating really well, doing your best to take as good a care of your gut as possible. You may need like a low FODMAPs diet, where you take out certain types of vegetables that can produce more bloating. You may want your vegetables to be very well cooked. Okay. Also taking digestive enzymes with your meals. That's another really, really good strategy with that. Okay. And then I would recommend just doing a simple fast, 12 hours between dinner and breakfast. When you wake up in the morning, drinking a lot of water and you're hydrating your body well. So if you finish dinner at 7 p.m. and you wake up at 6 a.m., between 6 and 7, you're hydrating your body really well before you consume anything with calories. So that's what I'd recommend. Well, guys, I got to jump off. Got another appointment to get to here. But it's really been a privilege and an honor to be on with you guys. I'm so thankful for all of your support and all of your just the comments, the questions, everything that you guys provide. You guys really are the reason why I do what I do. And I'm on a mission to help as many people as possible. And we're on a goal. Our goal is to reach 1 million people here. So, and impact their health in a positive way. So I really appreciate you guys. And if you know people that need to hear this information, there's so many people out there with diabetes, pre-diabetes, please share this video with them. So that way together we can really help turn these things around and help people get healthy and well naturally. God bless you guys. Bye-bye.